Hey, what's up? What is the VC here coming at you with another video once again. The Villain Club is what I call it. So if you want to be part of the club, well, just subscribe. That's all you got to do to be part of the club. All right, it's all about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table. And so that's what I'm all about. Anything and everything. And all opinions are welcome. So I like to share mine. All right, so without further ado, I've been focused on this whole numbnut Newsom. The LA wildfire is the biggest thing of all that, in terms of what's going on right now and all that. Of course, the inauguration of Trump's coming up. I mean, lots of things are happening here. And so the biggest thing that's kind of taking the headlines right now at the moment is the TikTok ban that's up and coming tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. So we're going to kind of talk about that. We'll talk about the story to led to this ban, and then what's upcoming for this ban and the future. So without further ado, we'll do that in a moment here. I'm just curious about how the fires are, how the LA wildfire is doing right now. Try to see what's happening over here. I'm just curious about containment. I'm always curious about containment, how much they're getting done, if anything. That's what I'm curious about. So I'm just trying to see what's the progress looking like. All right. So now it looks like it's up to 27 have died. Mayor names chief recovery. Okay. Is insurance the next battlefront? Okay. And let's see here. I don't know, maybe hopefully it'll have an update here. I just want to know what containment is. That's it. Status of the fires. So Palisades is now at 31% containment. So just a slight improvement from the other day. And the Eaton fire is at 65%. So there's look like a little bit of improvement from there. Oh, containment's growing. Okay, never mind. That was let's see here, yesterday morning. Okay, and now it's at 73 and 43 respectively. Damn. Okay, some big time in containment. It's good to see. All right. Still think that the mayor and Newsom should be forced out in some way, but Newsom's time is short, so I think he might be lucky once again. Cats have 9 lives. Newsom, I guess, is a dumbass cat. All right, so let's talk about the TikTok ban that's forthcoming. All right, so as of yesterday, the Supreme Court has upheld the TikTok ban. All right, so if you don't know the story, TikTok has been an alternative means of media, right? When it comes to social media for like, YouTube, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, IG, right, is what they call it. There's Snapchat. There's all kinds of them, right? And what TikTok has done, oh, there's X out there, obviously. But you know what TikTok has done was it made competitors conform to this competition, right? Which is kind of short form, short type videos, right? Shorts, as what YouTube would call their version. But TikTok kind of was a forefront of that, and it led to things like YouTube Shorts, because YouTube used to just be YouTube with videos and everything. Yeah, you can make short videos and all that, but to really aim at what TikTok was doing, YouTube did their version called YouTube Shorts. All right, and so they did that rendition of it to kind of compete with TikTok. But TikTok got so popular, could be because of the style, the form, all kinds of different things. I do have a TikTok, but I don't really use it too much. I just mainly, look at some of the stuff that gets sent to me by my friends and all that, and then I'll take a look from there. But I'm not like on it like I would be with, say, like I'm more on IG and Facebook than TikTok. But hey, to each its own, right? Um, I'm surprised I'm not on X. I should be. I used to just not care for Twitter, but now that Twitter has become X, and they've done some more things than they did compared to like the earlier years of Twitter, that I'm going to consider joining X or Twitter, however you want to call it. All right. And so, TikTok is originally from China, right? So they, is supposedly taking all the data because there's a lot of United States users. And what happened from there is, the Chinese have been accusing of just harnessing and taking all the data to try to do whatever they are trying to do to us, right? Even though we do have all these different things like companies, sending stuff over there to make stuff for us. And then you can always say, oh, well, they put spyware in our stuff, right? And all this other stuff. But they're so focused on this whole data harnessing of TikTok from us, even though we do all kinds of dealings with China anyways. Even the Democrats, um, when it comes to their dealings with China, they roll out the red carpet for them, right? They pretty much allow China to do anything. They rolled out the red carpet in California, United States. Shit, they even allow illegals from China to come on over, right? Get it outright, just say, hey, not allowed to come in. You're not really seeking asylum, even though they could be because China is communism. But at the same time, Democrats arguably are socialist communists, right? For the things they like to do, they love control. They love to just spend, right? And control every aspect of our lives. That's why media, for example, was censored. A lot of it was censored or really super controlled to where all you see was the narratives of the left, right? And these sort of liberal, progressive views on things, which wasn't really fair. It was very slanted, right? And then you find out about the censorship and all these things, right, that they were doing with, at the time, Facebook and X, Twitter, right? Until, you find out the truth, right? The truth is everywhere else outside of all this craziness, this censorship called the United States Democrats, right? And you come to find out, as the conservatives, Republicans, and the right, they continue to just tell their story, tell the story about the real things that are happening, right? And even though it wasn't dominant because of all the censorship and cover-ups, they eventually, over time, exposed the far left, the progressives, the liberals, of how bad everything is. And you could just really just see for ourselves. We're living in how bad things are, right? And then California, even if you put us under a microscope, is living in the worst of those things, of that sort of progressive, liberal views of things. We're living in that, crazy, fucked up society, if you want to call it that, of that right now. All right, we're the reality of it, and it's so bad. It's so almost controlled, completely controlled, right? When it comes to every aspect of our lives, in California, right? You can't do this. They're going to ban all this. They're going to ban that. They're going to ban this. And it's like, what the fuck? And so, the first thing that really kind of changed everything is when Elon Musk, who was a Democrat, bought X, or Twitter at the time. And they made it look like it was such a bad thing. Oh, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that with Twitter. But what Twitter really did was they unleashed uncensorship, right? And once you unleashed uncensorship, you start to even see even more how bad things are, about how media narrative is. I know that I'm going way off a tangent, but this is all social media related, anyways. And then over time, you find out that Facebook was pressured by the government for censorship, right? And they changed their tune just more recently. They changed their tune versus Twitter. They changed theirs for a couple of years already. But yeah, Facebook Meta, they changed their views more recently because, after events like Trump almost being assassinated, you start to see like, holy shit, you know, um, things are happening here that are crazy, but conservatives don't do, right? They don't shoot their own people like that. You know what I'm saying? Progressives are more violent, right? Active, violent. You see it all the time. They're protesting. They like to smash things and they call people out in overtones of whether it's racial or just hate, in general. And then they act on it violently. And then they try to always deflect and flip the script as if conservatives are like that when they're really not. And so when it comes to this whole censorship and TikTok ban, I mean, I could see, I could see what TikTok is about, right? Yeah, it's China owned, right? Could they be harnessing data and all that? I guess they have found that they've been taking all our data for what? We don't know. Maybe is to make cloned versions of us and then infiltrate America with clones and replace us. No, I'm just kidding. No, but who knows what they're going to do with all the data, right? But the data, it could be identity situations, identity stealing. It could be whatever. But the point of it is that they feel like China is invading our privacy, in, in through cyberspace, right? And so, even though we have all these dealings with China, anyways, doesn't make sense. Why don't you just ban China? But no, of course, companies are always going to outsource stuff to China. We're always going to be importing, exporting to China. But it's just funny how this is like kind of like the target of banning something from China. But the caveat is that we'll look at what the ruling is before we look at the caveat on how TikTok can be saved, all right? So let's see here. I'm not going to listen to these guys. This guy's a clown. This bald-headed dildo right here. He's a clown. So I'm not going to listen to him. Supreme Court on Friday unanimously upheld the law requiring TikTok's China-based parent company to divest from the app, teeing up a ban set to take effect Sunday, which is tomorrow. The justices sided with the Biden administration, finding the divest or ban law does not violate the First Amendment just 3 days before President Trump is set to take office. Trump had urged the justices to delay the deadline so he can negotiate a deal, but the court instead acted with breakneck speed, which is unusual for the court. But at the same time, the court is fair. That's the one, probably the fairest thing of everything. When you look at the Biden administration and how they really had weaponized the DOJ and pretty much all the three-letter organizations that work for Biden's administration, right? It was all like slanted. That's why they weaponized everything to try to get Trump jailed, right? So he couldn't run against them. But and throughout all this, Supreme Court has played pretty much down the middle. The left can argue and cry about, they favor conservatives, this and that, but they've been fair, the fairest of fair. If you look at everything that's happening, right? They threw out Roe versus Wade, right? And the Democrats cried about it, but when you look at deep down Roe versus Wade, which is not really any sort of true amendment or law, it was something that they felt that the government itself should not control, right, and leave it up to a state by state case, which Trump has said he would do. I don't see anything wrong with that, right? It shouldn't be a government thing, and that's the whole point of why the Supreme Court struck that down. But going back to this, so the Biden administration does not plan to enforce the law ahead of the inauguration, ultimately leaving the decision to Trump and seemingly allow the app to stay online for the time being. More than 170 million Americans, TikTok offers a distinctive and expansive outlet for expression, means of engagement, and source of community, which is true. It's just a different media, right? Even YouTube itself is semi-censored, right? They are, man. If there was better alternative to YouTube, they'll probably get on me for that. They'll probably censor me on that one. It'd be better. Like there was one called CocoScope a few years ago. Oh man, it was so good, but they just didn't have money to continue to run that media platform. But man, CocoScope was really good, uncensored, and it was a great alternative to YouTube. The court was unanimous on the judgment, although Sonia Sotomayor and Neil Gorsuch filed separate concurrences. The law, which was passed by wide bipartisan majorities in Congress and signed by President Biden last April, gave TikTok's parent company 270 days to divest from the app or face a ban from the U.S. app stores. All right. TikTok has argued divestment is not a feasible option and that it will go dark as of Sunday. It contended the impeding ban infringes on First Amendment rights of both the company and its 170 American users. The court rejected those arguments, instead ruling in favor of the government. The Biden administration asserted that any free speech concerns are superseded by national security interests over the app's ties to China, raising an alarm that Chinese government could access Americans' data or covertly manipulate TikTok's content algorithm. Okay, but think about it. This is the crazy thing. So they have concerns about national security interests, right? But yet we have an open border. I mean, isn't that kind of funny? Right? We have an open border, and Biden allows everybody and their mama to come through the borders, right? And there's no national security interest there, right? It's just a wide open, let everybody come in, right? Middle East, China, Africa, South America. I mean, everybody and their mama's coming in, right? Especially from the Chinese people, and supposedly military, aged people from China have been coming in through the border, and we've seen stories of that, right? But yet they want to ban this. I mean, come on. How about close the border while you're at it, dumb fuck? But no, sorry. How about old fuck? There you go. In this occurrence, Gorsuch said court was right to not rely on covert content manipulation rationale and not rely on secret evidence from the government. All right, so I'm not going to read through all this stuff, but you get the idea. Biden's position on TikTok has been clear for months, including Congress since Congress sent a bill of overwhelming bipartisan fashion to the president's desk. TikTok should remain available to Americans, but simply under American ownership or ownership that addresses the national security concerns, all right, which is the caveat, all right, because they said TikTok can remain open if it's sold to a U.S. buyer, and that's the thing. We do have a serious U.S. buyer, all right. Let me see if I can find that. And if you guys don't know, his name is Kevin O'Leary, right? They call him Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank, right? Let me see if I could pull that up. Let me go here. She's an eye pleaser, by the way. That's why I just leave that up. Let's see here. See if anything's different about anything reported on. Here we go, Kevin O'Leary right here. Let's take a look over here. He's from Shark Tank, right? He's always been.
You mentioned Kevin O'Leary.
You know, it's funny with Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank, right? He's really blunt, right, and straightforward about things on Shark Tank. So he looks bad, right? He looks like a bad guy on Shark Tank, you know, because he's just blunt, right, and tells you straight up as it is, which is unusual for an American, because usually, you know, it's like someone from overseas, like in Britain or Australia, would have that sort of mindset. But Kevin O'Leary just tells it like it is. And so the fascinating thing is he's interested in buying TikTok with his investment group. So let's take a look at this.
He's with us now on the telephone. And sir, good day to you. You have made no secret of your quest. What's the price tag? How far have you gotten? Kevin.
Yep, sorry. Okay, so what we have here is the clock ticking. And what I think a lot of people don't understand about this situation, which is a derivative of the order, but this is where it gets complex. As of midnight on the 19th, any service provider, that could be an Apple, that could be an Oracle, it could be a video compression technology company that's being paid as a consulting service, any of them that keep this thing alive is subject to $5,000 a day fine. Damn. Times 170 million. That's over $1 billion a day. Now, if you're the counsel for any of these companies right now in the last 15 minutes, you're advising your executive and the board that the risk inherent here is the first $1.7 billion of fines is going to be implemented, maybe or maybe not, until the executive order, which is untested. We don't know if an executive order can override a law from Congress. There's a case in 1937 that was used successfully, but you don't know. So as of right now, unless the company enters into a agreement to be purchased by an American syndicate, and Biden, who's the executive right now, waives for 90 days, this thing goes dark at midnight, because who's going to take on $1.7 billion risk at midnight? Who's going to do that? What counsel would advise? This is the most interesting, complicated, crazy situation I've ever been involved in. I'm really excited about it.
So it's been said that the CCP out of Beijing could control the algorithm, which would do a lot of negative things here in the U.S. and influence a lot of people in ways that, frankly, we don't want to happen.
Yeah, so that was another thing I didn't mention, was about sending, you know, what they said, right? Controlling the algorithms, influencing it, and just sending, you know, subliminals and all these different things through the apps for people to see that could possibly, you know, tarnish or weaponize against America and Americans in itself through the videos and all that that are being, you know, put out there. Or, you know, sometimes they have, like, you know, you're watching clips and videos and then they have suggestions. Hey, watch this, and hey, watch that. That sort of stuff, right? That's what another, you know, the concern is as well, besides data harnessing.
This past week, some others have argued that the CCP could get access to your passwords. Is that true?
Nobody knows the extent of which the algorithm provides data. It's been highly speculated, but, you know, there's a reason.
I don't know. To me, if a company owns something, wouldn't they have access to it? And why wouldn't the CCP force their way or will to be not able to get that because they're the CCP? I can see them doing that with TikTok. I mean, yeah.
That Congress put this order in front of the Supreme Court. There's a reason they ruled in favor of it. It's not worth taking the risk. And so the obvious solution is to sell it to an American syndicate as per the order, and then decide whether you're going to rewrite the algorithm completely or fork the code, as it's called in the software industry, which I don't think many of the subcommittees are going to allow.
Okay, all
right.
We
just don't know.
Okay, so I hear all your hesitation. One last question. Thanks for jumping on the phone. Kevin, What is the price tag to get the deal done?
Right now, $20 billion's on the table. Cash, $20 billion.
Will that do it?
Well, I don't know. We're 10 minutes old. I like to say.
Breaking up on the phone.
Okay.
We heard the important thing. That was
Yeah,
$20 billion. Kevin, thank you. Charge your phone. We'll bring you back.
I'm Steve Vincent. I'm Brian.
Yeah, so $20 billion is currently on the table. So I don't know. I don't even know if anybody knows what the price tag is and if that's a good enough amount to buy TikTok, right? Elon bought Twitter for what, 44 billion, I think, is what it was. And so, we'll see if that is the case and go from there. But yeah, so he is the buyer to buy it. And yeah, it's interesting. Let me see this right here.
Project Liberty has submitted what they're calling the people's bid for TikTok. It's a formal proposal to ByteDance to acquire TikTok's U.S. assets, part of the Project
Hey, look,
Liberty
it's Yahoo Finance. They're so left skewed, by the way.
team working to try and save the social media app is Kevin O'Leary, O'Leary Ventures chairman, and he joins me now. Kevin, it is great to see you. Big day, historic day. Supreme Court okays that TikTok shutdown. Kevin, first and foremost, your reaction, your response to that decision.
Well, I've read the opinion. I've also read the order from Congress. What's definitive today, which was rumored to be a possibility yesterday that won't be, is the idea of forking the code. In other words, can anybody buy it with the algorithm, get a copy of the algorithm, strip out the spyware, and operate it on an ongoing basis? The answer is no.
Shit, it's too much work. I mean, it's too much to go dig through all that. Might as well just ban it then, right? Like, why throw all that money into it to go in and strip all that out and do all that work, and then what? It's like, it's just too much time and money waste. I would just ban it if that's the case, but let's see what else he has to say.
Justices in a 9-0 decision, that's what I call definitive, made it clear in the bottom of page 5 and 6 in their opinion that's not going to happen. And so if you're going to buy it, whoever you are, and we're certainly interested in buying it, we've already submitted a formal bid. We've made it clear that we're not buying the algorithm, basically because we're not permitted to. And so now it's not really our decision at this point. These are the issues going through.
So it's almost like a reboot, right? Start fresh, right? Create their own algorithm programmed into it. I guess you could strip that part of it out, I suppose, rather than work with the existing. Because, all that stuff that people have built over the time and years is just gone pretty much. And I don't know if it could be replicated. I hope it's not like YouTube, because YouTube, man, it's hard with YouTube. And I just hope it's not as hard as YouTube is on algorithms and everything like that. But yes, I guess we'll see.
We're waiting to see what...
And I'm for this, by the way, because I believe he'll be fair and presenting another form of media out there that is just uncensored and just free, like X is, right? It's not controlled. It's not going to be, spun a certain viewpoint or a certain way. It's just going to be there as an alternative means to those far left censored medias that have been exposed.
Xi does in China, what he wants to do. Does he want to shut it down, or does he want to sell it, keep it open? What are the options? But it's getting more narrow, and the hours are going away pretty quickly.
Kevin, from what I understand, you actually went to Mar-a-Lago. You met with President-elect Trump. You made the case about why you're the guy to buy TikTok. What was the case, Kevin? What arguments did you make, and was he receptive?
He asked me, why should I care about TikTok? And I think it was a rhetorical question. He knows about TikTok, and I explained to him what I care about the most are the 6+ million entrepreneurs that make a living, you just had two of them on, that actually make a living and support their families with TikTok. Those are my people. Those are two generations of Shark Tankers, as I call them. They all know me. I'd like to think they trust me. And what was so important to me on this, and he understands this, is that I want to offer equity crowdfunding. They join me in the deal. Whatever price I'm getting it at, they get the same.
Oh, it's interesting too. As part of his,
And so
he put it out there. I don't know, a couple weeks ago, about anybody that wanted to join in on this sort of crowdfunding that he was doing at the time. I don't know if he's still doing it, to be part of this ownership thing into buying TikTok as part of this crowdfunding. You know, you're part of it. You know, which I thought was pretty cool. I think it's actually a pretty cool quote unquote investment into it.
I've got the first tranche worked out with the Jobs Act. This was complicated to do it. If you're interested and you want to learn more and express your interest in how much you want to invest, because the probability of something happening is getting greater every hour, just go to wonderfultiktok.com and have a look at it. And you decide what you want to do. But if you're on TikTok and you want to be my partner in it, look at that. I feel that's important because we have to create an environment where people feel safe about their data. And after all, what's holding back TikTok? It's a great platform. It's got 170 million. Why doesn't it have 220 million? Because so many people will not put it on their phone for concerns already detailed and now discussed and reviewed and decided on by the Supreme Court. And so if that's the case, let's fix it and let's move on. I do not want to see this down for 1 second. That hurts my companies and millions of others.
Kevin, how much are you?
Yeah, they said that people actually make more money from TikTok than, say, like YouTube or Facebook in terms of, or even IG, when it comes to this sort of play here that we're doing when it comes to content creation and putting it out there.
And your group willing to pay for TikTok, and if you do buy it, what exactly are you buying?
So we've put out an indication of what we think it's worth, around 20 billion. We've offered an LOI. The LOI is important because it gives either president the option, included in the order, the option to extend for 90 days while these two parties negotiate in good faith. And we hope that's the direction they're going to take, so it doesn't have to be taken down. What's most important is to add features that we know users want. And one of those, as you just heard it again from one of those creators, is I believe in it, that I'm concerned about the privacy of my data. But if you control your own data, I'll give you an example. I'm a huge watch collector. I wear 2 watches. By the way, this is the new boyfriend from Chanel. There's only one of these in the world. Not that I want to get distracted. But it's the second time it's been on television. I just got it today. I love this kind of stuff. But anyways, the idea is that because I love watches that much, I want every piece of content watches have on TikTok. I want to see it. I want that information. I want the ads. I want the information from the brands because that's what I love. And so if I'm willing to give up my data to them and the platform is profiting from that, why can't I wet my beak? Why can't I get a little payback? I love that idea for my TikTokers and for my companies. I think we can incorporate that. We also think it would be great if it was interoperable. So if you're posting on X and you just click here to populate TikTok, we'll do that for you. You reach another 170 million people. Adding features keeps users happy. And we just have to listen to them as we go through the transition. But the best part is the equity crowdfunding. I think you're going to be a lot of interest in creators, and I'm happy to have them as my partners.
Kevin, let's say you buy TikTok.
Oh, so it is
you now have this revamped American version, but you'd be going head-to-head with some big companies with smart engineers and some of the deepest pockets out there. I mean, Meta and Alphabet, Snap, and those are just the big players. What would be your competitive advantages in that space?
170 million users. That's my competitive advantage, but it gets better. When we solve this problem for parents and for companies and for the government, which will not use this product, when we solve it, we'll immediately increase our base, but it gets better. Frank and I are going to fly over to India and meet with Modi and say, listen, why don't we light up those 210 million users you turned off in 2020? Same with Switzerland, France, Germany, England, Canada. Why not create the world's largest television network that's based on freedom of speech and democracy? Who doesn't want to do that? That's really what Frank and I are doing here with Project Liberty. We've got a big plan here, and it's
Frank over here, Frank McCourt. All right, if that's who you're referring to here, by the way.
starts with saving TikTok, but we don't stop there. We grow this much bigger, and we think we can. It's a fantastic idea, but it solves the
I like
basic
it.
problem. We failed users in America with all social media. They don't trust where their data goes. I don't care, not just TikTok, all of them. They're always wondering, where's my data? Where's my data?
Arguably you could say the same thing with Apple and the products with Apple, since there's a lot of China-based ties to production and everything. But yeah, I mean, yeah, where is all the data go, right? I mean, it's a good question.
Got control of my data. Well, we're going to solve that.
I do like what he has to say about it, and I do welcome the fact that it's just going to be another form of open, free, status of no censorship media like X is, which to me will open it up more to the U.S. and the world at large. I don't see anything wrong with it. I like it, and I think they should allow this purchase to go through.
How real do you think this threat is, that ByteDance turning off the lights, Kevin, and TikTok just goes dark? Do you think that's real, or do you think that's just a bluff?
No, I think it's real. That could happen. I don't know what's on Xi's mind, but my sense of that call, the same reporting you gave about Trump talking to Xi, there's a level of cooperation here. Frankly, I think if Xi turned off TikTok, it would really piss Trump off. That's what I think. And I don't think that's a good guy to piss off.
All right, here's my last thoughts. My thought is this. I think that even though the Supreme Court held the ban, and then this ban is supposed to take place as of midnight tomorrow, I'm going to say there's going to be some sort of last-minute deal. Maybe not the deal to go through on the purchase, but this sort of 90-day window, whatever it is, since they're changing presidents and all that, to kind of just keep this thing open just a little bit longer, and just to really strike a real deal to take place. There's no rush job or nothing like that. I think that's what's going to happen there. So we'll see a last-minute reprieve, or whatever you want to call it, and that's the bottom line here. That's my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think about this TikTok ban, and what do you think? You think China's going to go through with it, or ByteDance, whatever, is going to go through and be like, nah, we're going to shut it down? Or do you think the CCP and China, they see green and they say, all right, we'll take the offer, we'll take the money? Let me know what you think. I think there's going to be like a last-minute sort of reprieve, and then we're going to have continued discussions and negotiations. All right, like a 90-day window. I think of all the Biden failures, all right, of this presidency, he's going to at least be fair about this and let Trump handle it from here on out. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, hit the bell icon on all my medias. Thanks. I'll see you next one.